Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. So day one of our fasting challenge. Right, let's go. I want you to really get motivated for this and really go for it. For you who have done this quite regularly now, you know the score, you know what we're looking for. We have 5 days now to burn as much body fat as possible. Now, over the course of the week, I'm going to be doing a couple more videos just again pushing home the benefits of this, why we should be doing it, what are we getting from it, how do we utilize it the best, how do we maximize this the best. For some of the newer people and those people here last month, the month before, there's one or two for this month, it's really important that you try to think about the benefits of the fasting that we're going to be doing. It's very easy to get caught up in what you perceive as hunger, right? So I'm going to say this again. I know some of you have heard this a million times, but for some of you it's something new. Whenever I go through today, for some of you it's the first time you've probably ever gone this long without food. For some of you it's the first time in a while, probably 3 weeks. The first thing that happens here is your body's got like a set sort of circadian rhythm. If it's used to eating at 8 o'clock in the morning, it will trigger ghrelin at 8 o'clock in the morning, and that is your hunger hormone. Now remember, hunger hormone is a wee thing at the top of the stomach, right? Your stomach kind of comes down and up and round into a wee bag and down to your intestines. Up here at the top, that's where ghrelin is released. It's a hunger hormone. Now, when we say hunger hormone, what it does, it gives you the signal of hunger, right? It doesn't actually mean that you're hungry. Do you know where you ever heard people saying if you're hungry, take a big pint of water and it kills the hunger? That's because whenever you do that, the stomach expands. And when the stomach expands, it sort of releases the sort of pressure off the ghrelin, we sort of trigger hormone up there. It makes it think, oh, the stomach's now full, so it switches off. So there's the ideal example, there's a perfect example of how it can't be hunger because water can't fill you up. Because what hunger means, what proper hunger means, is that your body's starved of nutrients. Nutrients meaning your macronutrients, carbs, vitamins, fats and proteins, and then your micronutrients, and also your electrolytes. If any of those are missing, your body will tell you it's hungry, all right? It doesn't necessarily mean it is actually hungry for food, because when we're talking about hungry for energy, right? And again, try and get your head around this, because I try to visualize this every time I feel a hunger pang. In my head, when I feel that hunger, I use that and I interpret that as I'm now burning body fat for fuel, right? So if my stomach sends me a signal of ghrelin, it means that it's a time of the day where I'm used to eating, it's just habitual, circadian rhythm, or that my body requires some fuel, all right? Like, which is fine. Your body might require fuel because you've gone all day without putting any fuel in. But body fat is fuel, right? When we eat in a calorie surplus, when we eat too much food, we store the rest of the energy, because remember, food is just energy, it's just energy in terms of calories. We store it to help us find food later. Remember, we're talking about an evolutionary process here, and normally at the time of evolution through human history, most of our lifespan was food is scarce, so we need energy to find energy. Usually we eat food to find food. Now we just eat food to eat food. So we store the excess energy thinking, okay, I've had a wee bit of extra food in abundance, I'll use this extra food to help me go find more food whenever I need it, all right? Because in nature, we wouldn't just gorge all the time, we would eat the food that we need, we'd sit down, we'd rest, I'm going to now have to go and find more food, and hopefully if there's any energy left over, i.e. body fat, it'll help me go further to find more nutritious food. So instead of just picking berries here, I'll be able to hunt something. Anyway, I'm sort of digressing here a wee bit. So body fat is fuel. It's food that you ate that you haven't used yet, right? So if you think about it, the longer I go without putting fuel in, the more fuel, stored fuel, I'll burn. Because we're looking at hormones now called insulin and glucagon. Whenever you eat food, any food at all, you'll release insulin. Even fats and proteins release insulin. Primarily carbohydrates and sugars release a lot of insulin because it puts a lot of energy in the bloodstream that needs to be used, otherwise you would go hyperglycemic and you potentially die. But anyway, we eat food, insulin goes up to help store the energy. The key word there is store energy. When you're in storage mode, right, remember your pancreas will release insulin or glucagon, not and, or glucagon, can't release both. And they're both designed to regulate your blood sugars. So I eat food, blood sugars levels goes up because that food, when it's digested, goes into the bloodstream, so the bloodstream can shuttle it in to the cells with insulin. So insulin's present in my body. I cannot, listen to this, I cannot burn body fat if there's insulin in my system, because insulin is an energy storing hormone. All right. Now, the longer I go without food, my body's, oh shit, blood sugar levels are very low. I might go hypoglycemic, which means I could potentially die. So I'm going to have to release stored energy, break it back down to the blood sugars, and put that back into the bloodstream to bring my blood sugars up a wee bit. It does that with glucagon. All right, so the pancreas will release insulin whenever we eat food to bring blood sugar levels back down to baseline, so we don't go hyperglycemic. If we go a long time with no food, the pancreas will release glucagon to break down body fat, to turn that into energy to bring blood sugar levels up to baseline, so we don't go hypoglycemic and die. Does that make sense? So your pancreas is constantly regulating your blood sugars, and it wants it to stay at baseline. We eat too much food, insulin comes, they store all the energy into the muscle cells to bring it down to baseline. We go a long time with no food, the pancreas releases glucagon to break down the body fat, the stored energy, the energy that you stored, to bring blood sugar levels back up, so we don't go hypoglycemic and die. Does that make sense? So when I'm fasting, I want to feel a wee bit of discomfort, so my body will go, right, pancreas, release some glucagon, break down all that stored energy that we had earlier that we haven't used yet, and elevate blood glucose. Now, for some of you who aren't used to this, that system might take a wee while, half an hour to an hour, sometimes even more. So you might feel, you're, oh geez, I'm just absolutely exhausted here. But once that glucagonic system kicks in, you, as long as there's body fat on your body, and I'm sure, like me, there's fucking plenty, which is why we're here, then you want to release all that stored energy. The second you put something in your mouth and we release insulin, that system stops. Right? This is why on your fast, I'm adamant that we don't do anything other than just fast. We're not looking for all these wee shortcuts. Can I have some sort of, diet soda and this and that and the other? Because anything that's going to release insulin is going to shut off that glucagonic state of that glucagon, and we're not burning fat for fuel. We're in storage mode. Insulin, storage mode, glucagon, energy breakdown mode, energy release mode. Storage, release. Can't do both at the one time. Right? So the longer we fast, the more fat we use. Now, we should be fasted from last night, 8 o'clock at night. So when you wake up this morning, you should be well into that glucagonic state. Now, remember your circadian cues. If you normally eat breakfast at 1 o'clock, if you normally want lunch at 1 o'clock, your brain will want you to eat at that time, because it's what it's usually doing. It's habitual. Just say to yourself, if I feel that wee pang, oh, there's that ghrelin hormone that's now going to tell my pancreas to, do you know what? Our blood sugar levels are potentially low. Right, release some stored fat to bring that back up again. All right, so that's the hormonal effects of breaking down fat for fuel during a fasting period. Now listen, think about your normal day. You wake up in the morning, you have lunch, a breakfast, lunch, dinner, and in between that you're snacking regularly. Whenever we eat something that raises insulin, it takes about maybe 2 to 3 hours, or maybe 4 depending on the type of carbohydrate, for that insulin to come back down to baseline, and maybe another hour for that to go very low for the body to release glucagon. So if you're constantly in that state all day, when are you burning body fat? Right? Think about it. This is why when we wake up in the morning, it's absolutely prime time to go for a walk. You're in that glucagonic state, your body's releasing fat for fuel. So think about a car that's tapping in its reserve tank. The more now we put the foot in the gas, the more the stored energy it's going to use. Does that make sense? Now, if we do resistance training, we do weights, then we deplete all the energy that's in the muscle cells. Remember, insulin's job was to store the muscle cells up. So we deplete that even more, which means glucagon has to come not just to give you energy now, but to replace the energy that you lost from the muscle. So it's going to have to work overtime, because it has to replace the lost energy and give you energy to do the stuff that you're doing right now. Does that make sense? This is why fasted exercise is absolutely amazing for burning body fat. So I want you to think about that during today. Also, remember, if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling hungry, your body could be missing something. It's usually an electrolyte like sodium or potassium or something like that. So this is where the hydration shot comes in. Your salt, your rock salt or pink salt or Himalayan salt, whatever, and a squeeze of lemon. Take that 2 or 3 times today. That'll keep the electrolytes in, because if you're dehydrated, you will feel hunger. Doesn't mean you're hungry. Doesn't mean you're starving. As long as there's fat in your body, you ain't going to fucking die. Alright, trust me. What I want you to think about here is, am I hydrated? Drinking copious amounts of water will not hydrate you, it will actually dehydrate you, because unless there's some way for the body, the muscles in particular, to retain the fluid, you'll just keep paying out and diluting your electrolytes even more. Now, why do we dehydrate more when we're fasting? Because carbohydrates store in the muscle as glycogen. 1 gram of glycogen and 1 gram of carbohydrates will store between 3 and 4 grams of water. When we fast, we're obviously depleting this energy, like I just explained. So therefore we burn up all the glycogen, therefore we lose the water retention within the muscle. That's dehydration. So if there's no glycogen keeping the water in the muscle, we can use sodium, salt, not table salt, but sodium, because sodium, like for example, Himalayan salt's got 82 minerals in it. Those minerals, those electrolytes, will draw water into the muscle to keep the muscle hydrated. That will stave away hunger, tiredness, and headaches. So if you're feeling any of those symptoms, it's because you're dehydrated, okay? Remember, when I drink black coffee and green tea through the day, what they do is they mobilize fat for fuel. So now that we're going into that glucagonic state, there's a process of breaking down fat, mobilizing fat for fuel. Then when we exercise, we oxidize fat for fuel. So we're getting energy out of the system, and then we're burning the energy in the tank. Two different things. So for example, if you think about your oil burner in the house, we have a pump drawing the oil out of the tank into the burner, but then we have to actually burn the oil. They release the heat, which is why I sweat after exercise. All right, does that make sense? Any questions this week, guys? Please ask. Don't sit there not sure. Even if you need to ask me personally, that's fine. Remember, we normally post up our weight day 1 and weight on day 5. I'll be really honest, I know we do that as part of the challenge, but I don't really care what you weigh. I just want you to look good and feel great at the end of this, irregardless if you've lost 6 pounds, 8 pounds, or 12 pounds. It's about looking good and feeling good. And once we go into the rest of the week and I start explaining the rest of the health benefits, never mind just the weight loss benefits, hopefully you'll start to feel all those things. All right, so let's have a good challenge. Let's burn as much fat as possible. Let's really smash this.